A funny thing happened on the way to the forum. We're going to start with a little theme song that I put together for you.
Something familiar, something peculiar, something for everybody. Comedy tonight. Something that's naughty, something that's bawdy. Something for everybody. Comedy tonight.
Nothing that's grim.
Nothing that screams. She plays Medea later this week. Stunning surprises, cunning disguises, hundreds of actors out of sight.
Pantaloons and tunics. Courtesans and eunuchs.
Funerals and chases.
Baritones and basses.
Controversy.
Philanderers. Cupidity. Timidity. Mistakes.
Fakes, times. Tumblers, grumblers, fumblers, bumblers.
Okay, so we start with an interview with the master himself.
Well, there's always possibly an exception, but I intend from now on to write my own music because it's about 3 times as much fun as writing lyrics. But there may always come along something that's just so wildly exciting that I can't keep my hands off it.
Well, tell us about the new show.
Oh, well, the first show, the one that's almost completed now, I've been on it for about 3 years with my collaborators, is a show called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. And it's, this is the year for long titles in musicals anyway. This is a show from an idea by a man named Bert Shevelov, who is one of the authors of the book.
Who knows? This is kind of a trivia question, but it's kind of interesting. What is the meaning of the title? A funny thing happened on the way to the forum. Where do they get that from? Because it's a funny thing, and the forum is ancient Rome. But why is it structured that way?
It may have been from the, it might have been from the Catskills, maybe from the comedians who would start out. A funny thing happened on the way to the show.
Exactly.
Ray said this. He said also the funny thing happened on the way to the theater.
Exactly. So it's a classic Catskills joke. Thank you, Stephanie. So if anything happened on the way to tonight's performance, and then they get into it. So because the show is so Borscht Belt that they chose to give the title if anything happened on the way to the forum.
He's writing it, they're just finishing now, with Larry Gelbart. And it's based on the plays of Plautus, who is a 2,000-year-old situation comedy writer. Plautus wrote a large number of short plays, each of which have been rewritten many, many times, not knowingly, right up through Desi and Lucy and Sergeant Bilko, whose prototype is to be found in the plays of Plautus. And we've taken about 9 of his plays and made an amalgam of them into one evening of musical theater in the Roman style, but with a group of comics instead of a group of so-called actors or performers of anything but a comic nature. The show's to star Milton Berle. It's being directed by George Abbott and produced by Hal Prince, who also produced West Side. And the evening is a sort of a celebration of comedy. There isn't a serious moment in the whole show. We hope maybe there'll be a couple of charming ones, but it's mostly comic from beginning to end. And the use of songs in it, I hope, will be different than the so-called integrated musical where the songs and the story constantly flow in and out of each other that have been going on for so many years now. I think a rather tired formula that...
Well, it was a good thing when it happened. I remember all those years in operetta with those, you know, arbitrary song cues, you know, and bursting into song for no reason, although I know that's not what you're going to do with this.
Oh, we might. That's sort of
All
fun.
right, why not?
It's fun as long as
Let me
it's
ask
serious.
you something. What's going to happen when the lyricist gets terribly annoyed with the composer for not liking his lyrics, or vice versa, since you're both? What's going to happen?
I don't know. I don't know of any time in the past when the lyricist has gotten annoyed with the composer. I do know many times when the composer's gotten annoyed with the lyricist, and sometimes the lyricist with the lyricist.
You don't anticipate any great trouble about this with yourself?
No, I sometimes run for help to Larry and Bert to say what's wrong, or what's right, which is more likely the case.
Do you have? I think you probably have answered the question. I know what you care to do. I think regarding music or lyrics. But do you have Do you have more confidence in the musical thing than the lyrics? Do you?
No, less confidence because I've got less experience behind me. That is, most of my musical background is training and one or two shows that I wrote for either practice or, in the case of Saturday Night, for no eventual production. But I've had experience in lyric writing,
Yes.
and also words are much easier to deal with in terms of specific criticism.
Well, I know some of the words that you wrote, and Gypsy said something about, in essence, you either have it or you don't.
You either got it or you ain't.
There you go. Stephen Sondheim certainly has it. He's a creative experimenter, and he is sure to be exploring, I know, for a long time, the very exciting frontiers of the American musical theater. Thank you so much.
Always fun to hear right from the source himself. So, couple of housekeeping items. Those of you who are at Phantom of the Opera already heard this, but there are more of you here than last time. I'm interested in your reactions to the following. I am in the process of setting up a day on Broadway or the Broadway experience with David Benkof. I think that's what we're going to call it, the Broadway experience with David Benkof, where uh, we will have a day where we go to the Museum of Broadway and the Drama Bookshop, where we get a behind the scenes tour of the Hayes Theater. Not sure if we'll go backstage because there is a show going on, but we'll get some kind of private tour. That's something that is not available to the public because I know someone who knows someone. And then lunch with Matteo, who will talk about his new show that is opening off Broadway in January that he co-wrote, which is pretty exciting. And then the last thing that we're doing is I'm getting us tickets to Matteo's show. So we'll be able to enjoy seeing that. And that's going to be the plan. It's going to be $199 and, you know, a chance to get together as a community as well. Some of you indicated yesterday that you're even open to coming in from out of town. If this is something that you might do, raise your hand. Oh yeah, a lot of hands. Good. Excellent. Excellent. That's what I want. Wendy is in. Terrific. Wendy, where are you going to be coming from? When are you thinking? February the 1st, Peggy. It'll be a little cold, but okay. So there Comedy Tonight was not the first opening number for Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. Famously, there were two other opening numbers that failed. And this is one of those cases where Jerry Robbins came in and said, well, what is your show about? And Sondheim said it's about comedy. And he said, write that. And the same thing happened with what show? Where the opening number, Jerry Robbins said the opening number isn't working. What's the show really about? And it totally changed the show. Come on, you don't know your Broadway trivia? The answer is Fiddler on the Roof. Fiddler on the Roof, where he said it was the show about, and Harnick and Bach said, well, it's about tradition. That's your opening number. That's what happened. And here it's thank you, Alice, and thank you, Sue. So what I want you to do is react to these three opening numbers and tell me which one you like the best and why. You can tell me which one you like the least and why, either out loud or in the chat. So let me share the screen.
It's David Benkof, the Broadway Maven. Did you know that Stephen Sondheim experimented with two other opening numbers for A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum before settling on Comedy Tonight? Which is your favorite? Listen.
Gods of the theater, smile on us. You who sit up there stern in judgment, smile on us.
down on actors, and who doesn't? Bless our little company and smile on us.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Think not about deep concerns, think not about dark dilemmas. We offer you rights and revels, smile on us for a while.
That was Invocation. Here's Love is in.
Okay, invocation. Either unmute yourself or type in the chat looking for one adjective that describes invocation. Slow. Good, Peggy. Unappealing, says Alice. Clever. Too historical. Okay. Now we're going to listen to the second. Boring, says Evelyn. We're going to listen to the second opening number.
The air.
Love is in the air, quite clearly, people everywhere act queerly. Some are hasty, some are halting, some are simply, some are sold. Love is going around, anyone exposed can catch it. Keep your window closed and latch it. Leave your house and lose your reason. This is a contagious season. Love is going around.
And you'll recognize this.
Okay, so Stephanie is right that Gods of the Theater Smile on Us was recycled for his show, The Frogs. Tell me this, what do you think of Love is in the Air? Give me an adjective for that one. Love is in the air. It is generic. Good, Alice. Like it, but not for opening in this play. Yeah, it'd be nice at a cabaret or something like that. Lynn is bragging that she helped produce Saturday Night. It's more upbeat. It's not about the subject. Okay, now we're going to listen to Comedy Tonight.
One. Comedy Tonight.
Something familiar, something peculiar, something for everybody. Comedy Tonight.
I want to point out that the show is both familiar and peculiar. And one of the things that I like to think about Sondheim is that he makes familiar things peculiar and he makes peculiar things familiar. Is that nonsense or do you see what I mean? Give me a thumbs up if you see what I mean. All right. Yeah, good. A lot of you get it. Okay.
Something that's gaudy, something that's bawdy, something for everybody. Comedy Tonight. Nothing that's grim,
Nothing that's Greek.
she plays Medea later this week.
That's just a fun line, right? Because they go from tragedy to comedy, and Medea is about the most tragic tragedy there could be. She kills her children in order to get back at her ex-husband. I mean, it's pretty awful. What's an adjective you would use to describe Comedy Tonight?
Stunning surprises, cunning disguises, hundreds of actors out of sight. Pantaloons and tunics, courtesans and eunuchs,
Funerals and chases.
baritones and basses, thunderers, cylinders, cupidity, timidity, mistakes, fakes, rhymes, mimes, tumblers, grumblers, fumblers, bumblers, no royal curse, no Trojan horse, and a happy ending, of course. Goodness and badness, man in his madness, this time it all turns out all right. Tragedy tomorrow, comedy tonight. 1, 2, 3.
Which
Okay, so here.
is your favorite?
Awesome.
All right, so I'd like some comments on the various versions and whether Comedy Tonight solves the problem. What are your thoughts about this question? Ruth Ellen.
Yeah, I was just going to say, even though the one they used is so, we know it so well, and it's hard not to give it a favorite, but that I think also gets the feeling of subtly the notion of a Greek chorus, which fits into the whole theme, which I like. It's also nice that it does have the whole cast, which maybe
Right.
even the one it's all about, was it all about love? Yeah. That was kind of too
Love it.
pastiche. I think thinking about Frank Sinatra and it wouldn't fit in right there, so that was the main thing. And then you said they recycled from the first one. Since that was an earlier show, some of the structure made me think of what he ultimately did with Into the Woods, the song Into the Woods, like Into the Wood, and so the rhythmic feel of it, I think it's nice to see, we have those Sondheim-esque things that we become aware of, but to think about
You're
how.
saying that the opening number has some of the same rhythm
Right, in the very first one, the first one, yeah.
Good. Other comments about these three opening numbers?
I also had a comment about Comedy Tonight, just the one that worked. It's a perfect vehicle for his excellence, his genius at rhyming. There's just so many opportunities for him to show off his prodigious ability.
Yeah, and he also lends it to fun, playful performance. My favorite is when you go to a show and they say baritones and basses, and somebody sings baritones and basses, right? Really, really fun number. Okay, now the hardest line in all of Broadway to perform, in my opinion, the hardest line is "I play the part" from If Anything Happened on the Way to the Forum. And I've collected about 10 of them. I want you to watch them and figure out who does it well. You'll see that Zero Mistel did it well, Whoopi Goldberg did it well, but it's really hard to pull off. So of the amateur productions, I'm interested in any. You might think 5 do them well. Probably you won't. Put the ones that you think do it well in the chat. Let me share the screen.
In this house dwells suitless slave to a son. Suitless is probably my favorite character in the piece. A role of enormous variety and nuance, and played by an actor of such versatility, such magnificent range, such, let me put it this way, I play the part.
So I was talking to students before class. Does somebody want to put in the chat or just say out loud, what is the name? If you heard it at the beginning of class, don't answer. But what's the name of the character that we just heard from? If you weren't here at the beginning of class, what's that character's name? It's not Pseudolus, it's Prologus. Thank you, Alice. Prologus is the narrator of the show who comes out and says, tonight I am proud to present to you a comedy. And then he says, I play the part. That's not Pseudolus saying I play the part. That's Prologus saying I play Pseudolus. And of course, these characters look alike because Pseudolus is just Prologus playing a role. And so it's easy to miss that because they look the same. But Prologus is the one who plays Pseudolus in the show. The hardest line in musical theater. Shalom, I'm David Benkof, the Broadway Maven, and today we're going to look at just one line. I play the part from Comedy Tonight and A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum by Stephen Sondheim. It's very hard to make the line land because it's obvious that it's coming as the actor playing Pseudolus starts praising himself. It doesn't always get audience laughter, and the silence can be embarrassing. Zero Mistel was able to make it land in the film only because he was able to mug close to the camera. Whoopi Goldberg did a pretty good job.
Also in this house lives Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Now Pseudolus is probably my favorite character in the piece. A role of enormous nuance and variety, and played by an actor of such, well, let me put it this way. I play the part. Ask for Comedy Tonight.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Now, I put together a compilation of 10 versions of that line from non-professional productions. Some are pretty good, and many fall flat. But one of them stands tall above the others, in my opinion. Stay tuned to the end of the video to find out which one. Here they are.
Also in this house lives Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Now, Pseudolus is probably my favorite character in the piece, a role of enormous variety and nuance, and played by an actor of such, well, let me put it this way, I play the part. Anything you ask for, comedy tonight.
Also living here is Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Pseudolus is my favorite character in the piece, a role of enormous variety and nuance, and played by an actor of such, well, let me put it to you this way. I play the part. Anything you ask for, comedy tonight.
Also in the house of Senex is Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Pseudolus is probably my favorite part in the piece, a role of such variety and nuance, and played by an actor of such, well, let me put it this way, I play the part.
Also living here is Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Pseudolus probably is my favorite character in the entire piece, a role of enormous variety and nuance, played by an actor of such, let's put it this way, I play the part.
The Broadway Maven offers a free online class every Monday at noon and 8 p.m. Visit thebroadwaymaven.com for details.
Also in this house lives Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Now, Pseudolus is probably my favorite character in the piece. A role of enormous variety and nuance, played by an actor of such. Well, let me put it this way. I play the part. Anything you ask for, comedy tonight.
Also in this house is Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Pseudolus is probably my favorite character in the piece, a role of enormous nuance and variety, and played by an actor of such, well, let me put it this way, I play the part. Anything you ask for, comedy tonight.
Also in this house lives Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Pseudolus is probably my favorite character in the piece, a role of enormous variety and nuance, and played by an actor of such. Well, let me put it to you this way. I play the part. Anything you ask for, comedy tonight.
Also in this house lives Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Pseudolus is probably my favorite character of the piece, a role of tremendous variety and nuance, and played by an actor of such, well, let me put it this way, I play the part. Anything you ask for, comedy tonight.
Also in this house lives Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Pseudolus is probably my favorite character in the piece, a role of such enormous variety and nuance, played by an actor of such, well, let me put it to you this way. I play the part. Anything you ask for, comedy tonight.
Also in this house lives Pseudolus, slave to the sun. Pseudolus is probably my favorite character in the piece, a role of enormous variety and nuance, and played by an actor of such, well, let me put it this way. I play the part. Anything you ask for, comedy tonight.
Which was your favorite? Put your answer in the comments. But first, here's mine.
And played by an actor of such, well, let me put it to you this way. I play the part.
I like it because he's boastful, but in a playful way. He's not waiting for applause. He just moves on with a smile. A funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
It's Sondheim himself who said that indeed the songs were just respites between the very, 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 very funny book that Bert Shevlov and Larry Gelbart wrote.
What are the funniest moments in the book for you?
Well, some of it has to do with Zero Mostel, I have to admit, and that is when Hysterium is so Marcus Lycus is so scared about the Roman soldier coming that he has trouble saying who seeks the house of Marcus Lycus, and and Mostel steps in. This is so wonderful in the movie. You actually see his lips actually make the words form when he does say who seeks the house of Marcus Lycus. He does it with such impeccable elocution that it's great fun. But there's also great fun, even though this joke may be a little politically incorrect at the moment in time, when indeed Domina comes back and she finds out all these Romans are in her house. And at first she's upset about it because, after all, who are these people? But then Pseudolus mentions that indeed these are Roman soldiers, and because she was the daughter of a Roman soldier, that she would want them there. So she talks about, yes, I entertained so many soldiers, and because Marcus Licus thinks that he's in a brothel, he's surprised that this old woman entertains so many soldiers. And she said, oh, Hysterium was a great help too. And of course, Hysterium is a little aghast, thinking that he was pressed into service to entertain soldiers on the level of a brothel. So that's great fun too. Lines like "you're going to be a eunuch all your life" is certainly funny because, of course, yes, indeed, if you're a eunuch, you're going to be a eunuch all your life. So there's great fun there too. And son, if you're as happy as your mother and I, my heart bleeds for you, which is very funny too. There are so many wonderful lines. It's the funniest book of all time. Little Me is a close second, but Funny Thing is the funniest book of all time. And in fact, the movie makes a mistake there, and the revival made a mistake there too, because they assimilated this joke where he's looking at a bottle of wine and says, "Was one a good year?" And, that's something that really wasn't done in Roman times. So that's an anachronism. And that came from the movie, and the Nathan Lane revival in '96 used it. And that's too bad, because it really shouldn't happen that way. I think by that time, both book writers were dead. Certainly Bert Shevla was. He died many years earlier. I don't know if Larry Gelbart was. But I do think it's a cheap line, and I'm sorry that it came in there. But aside from that, they really worked very hard not to be anachronistic.
Stephen Sondheim. Okay, so we're gonna watch this scene of little snippets from the book. We're gonna watch it twice because they're so fast that they'll go right past you, but this will get you a sense of why the book is so funny. This is a total spoiler alert. So if you don't want to ever be, if you want to always be surprised by what happens in the show, give me 5 minutes. You can go in the other room or put it on mute or something like that. So here we go.
Sometimes lyrics are not the funniest part of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. That's the book by Larry Gelbart and Bert Shevelove. Take a look at some of the funniest scenes in that show. And consider this your spoiler alert.
I play the part.
Oh, yes, madam. The craftsmanship is superb.
And the resemblance?
Frightening.
Senex, come along and carry my bust with pride.
A lesson for you all. Never fall in love during a total eclipse.
What do you think you are doing, eunuchs? I have told you 1,000 times not to fan the girls while they're still wet. You'll never learn. You'll be eunuchs all your lives.
Wait!
Yes?
A brilliant idea!
Yes?
That's what we need, a brilliant idea.
Those are the two numbers that always mix me up. 3 and 5. I cost 500 minae. Is that a lot of money?
Oh, yes.
More than 300?
Nearly twice as much.
Oh, those are the two numbers that always mix me up. 3 and 5.
Pseudolus!
Yes, Hysterium?
Pseudolus!
Pronounced perfectly. You know, a lot of people say pseudolus, and I really hate that. I think the family might be interested to learn that their slave-in-chief, their pillar of virtue, has secreted within the confines of his cubicle Rome's most extensive and diversified collection of erotic pottery.
You must know one thing.
What's that?
While you have my body, you shall never have my heart.
Well, you can't have everything. 1,000 thanks, whichever one of you did this.
You are in need of a soothsayer?
How do you know?
I'd be a fine soothsayer if I didn't. Silence! I'm about to say the truth. You have been searching for a child. 2 children.
Yes, yes.
A fine big boy.
Yes.
And a strange little boy. A girl, a boy and a girl.
She says on Crete her religion forbids it.
He had to fall in love with a religious Cretan. Please, may I have just a word?
A word?
One word.
It had better be a good one.
Oh, it is, sir, it is.
What is it?
Intermission.
Captain, my father was General Magnus. On the last anniversary of his death, I entertained over 200 officers.
By yourself?
Oh, of course not. The stereum here was a big help.
My father will turn in his grave!
Your father is alive.
This will kill him. You didn't tell me I'd have to be a girl. You'll never believe I'm a girl. Look at me. Just look at me.
I have been looking all over for you. Here is the captain's bride. Dead! Give her air!
To have died so young, without ever experiencing me. Oh, her bridal bower becomes a burial bier of bitter bereavement.
Can you say Titus the tailor told 10 tall tales to Titania the titmouse? A pyre! What kind of pyre?
A pyre of fire!
Oh, a fire pyre! The gods are expecting an uncharred virgin!
A farewell kiss!
Of course.
Not you! There she is! Yes! My virgin!
I am not a virgin.
Those filthy pirates! My daughter! My sister?
I wish to marry. My heart will bleed for you.
Okay, so we're gonna watch it again, and this time everybody should look for your favorite 3 jokes, gags, lines in the show, and put your first favorite or any of your favorite 3 and tell me what they are, because there's a lot of good stuff in here.
In that show. And consider this your spoiler alert.
I play the part.
Oh, yes, madam. The craftsmanship is superb.
And the resemblance?
Frightening.
Senex, come along and carry my bust with pride.
A lesson for you all. Never fall in love during a total eclipse.
What do you think you are doing, eunuchs? I have told you 1,000 times not to fan the girls while they're still wet. You'll never learn. You'll be eunuchs all your lives.
Wait!
Yes?
A brilliant idea!
Yes?
That's what we need, a brilliant idea.
Those are the 2 numbers that always mix me up. 3 and 5. I cost 500 minae. Is that a lot of money?
Oh, yes.
More than 300?
Nearly twice as much.
Oh, those are the 2 numbers that always mix me up. 3 and 5.
Pseudolus!
Yes, Hysterium?
Pseudolus!
Pronounced perfectly. You know, a lot of people say pseudolus, and I really hate that. I think the family might be interested to learn that their slave-in-chief, their pillar of virtue, has secreted within the confines of his cubicle Rome's most extensive and diversified collection of erotic pottery.
You must know one thing.
What's that?
While you have my body, you shall never have my heart.
Well, you can't have everything. 1,000 thanks, whichever one of you did this.
You are in need of a soothsayer?
How do you know?
I'd be a fine soothsayer if I didn't. Silence! I'm about to say the truth. You have been searching for a child. 2 children.
Yes, yes.
A fine big boy.
Yes.
And a strange little boy. A girl, a boy and a girl.
She says on Crete her religion forbids it.
He had to fall in love with a religious Cretan. Please, may I have just a word?
A word?
1 word.
It had better be a good one.
Oh, it is, sir, it is.
What is it?
Intermission.
Captain, my father was General Magnus. On the last anniversary of his death, I entertained over 200 officers.
By yourself?
Oh, of course not. The stereum here was a big help.
My father will turn in his grave!
Your father is alive.
This will kill him. You didn't tell me I'd have to be a girl. You'll never believe I'm a girl. Look at me. Just look at me.
I have been looking all over for you. Here is the captain's bride. Dead! Give her air!
To have died so young, without ever experiencing me. Oh, her bridal bower becomes a burial bier of bitter bereavement.
Can you say Titus the tailor told 10 tall tales to Titania the titmouse? A pyre! What kind of pyre?
A pyre of fire!
Oh, a fire pyre! The gods are expecting an uncharred virgin!
A farewell kiss!
Of course.
Not you! There
am not a virgin. Those filthy pirates! My daughter!
My sister?
I wish to marry. My heart will bleed for you.
Philia
Okay, so I have a cut song.
has unfortunately been sold to a warrior.
It's called the Echo Song.
Pseudolus concocts a scheme to persuade her to run away with Hero. Knowing Philia to be a deeply religious girl, he instructs Hero to tell her to pray to the gods for guidance. Philia's gods have the peculiar habit of answering only in echoes, or at least so she believes. Philia begins to pray, and Hero, seeing no one there to answer her, scrambles madly to the roof.
Okay, some more from Peter, this time about how to cast a good pseudolus.
The person makes a great pseudolus.
I think you really have to have size. That really, maybe because Zero started it, maybe that's the reason why. But if you don't have size, you have to be bigger than life in personality. And it's very interesting that in all three productions that have been on Broadway, that all three people who played Pseudolus have won Tony Awards.
Okay, that's not right. There have been 4 people who've won Tony Awards for playing Pseudolus.
I mean, that's not something you can really talk about with very many shows. Not even Gypsy can claim that because, of course, Merman lost.
Who's the 4th, right? So, Zero Mistel, Nathan Lane, who played it in the revival? I don't remember. And then there's a 4th one, which is Jason Alexander, played the role in Jerome Robbins's Broadway, and he ran to Tony for his role. So 4 times Pseudolus has been on Broadway, and 4 times the person playing Pseudolus has won a Tony for Best Actor. Now, I have a favorite Pseudolus. I want to see Phil Silvers. Thank you, Stephanie. I want to see Josh Gad in that role. I think he would be perfect. He's the right age. He's the right style of comedy. I just think he would be hilarious. But we'll see.
When she was doing it. So the fact that Zero Mostel, Phil Silvers in 72, and then Nathan Lane in 96 all got Tony Awards really tells you something about what a great role it is. So while I'd like to see somebody who has heft and an outsized personality, the fact remains that the role is so wonderful, you can probably get any talented person in there of any size. And of course, Whoopi Goldberg came in to do it for a while. And they didn't make anything of the fact that she was a woman. You didn't get any impression that she was a woman because, of course, that would be a problem in the scene when he goes to the house of Marcus Lycus, as it's called, and that would be a very different reading on it with a woman there. So, but there was the sexuality was removed. It's such a great part. I mean, I have seen it done so well in even high schools. There's always somebody, and it would have been very interesting if James Corden had done it. He was scheduled to do it, but then he got the TV gig, and of course there was more money there, so he took it.
So Forum premiered in 1962, and
so this is just an interesting video essay about the show.
By a lot of measures, is Stephen Sondheim's first musical that reached any kind of public acclaim or wider audience. And that makes it a really interesting piece to study, because unlike nowadays, where when you enter into musical theater, you enter into the realm of Stephen Sondheim, back then, Sondheim was entering into what was already a well-established genre. And so it's interesting to see how what have become his personal quirks and idiosyncrasies, the way he writes musicals, fit into what we now know as the older musical, that kind of golden age of musical theater of the 40s, 50s, and 60s. For context, this show was up against shows like Oliver and Brigadoon at the Tony Awards that season, and you can see how Steve is just fitting into this world of musical comedy. A funny thing happened on the way to the Forum is, I think, the most musical comedy of Sondheim musicals. And you see that in the pure comedy songs that Sondheim wrote for this piece. Things like Everybody Ought to Have a Maid, things like Comedy Tonight, which he wrote as a replacement opening number during out-of-town tryouts, things like Impossible, you know, that pure musical comedy, quick wit, play on words, just funny situation. But then you have other songs, songs like Free, songs like Pretty Little Picture, songs that start to showcase the budding gem of what Stephen Sondheim's style is going to evolve into over the next couple decades. These songs are not the songs that people sing at cabarets nowadays. They're not the songs that made them into the musical reviews of Sondheim songs, but they are the most early example you can see of Sondheim's exploration into atonality and breaking away from strict AABA song forms, verse, verse, chorus. Like, these are his lyric poetry that is just starting to happen. And it's so wonderful to look at it with 20/20 hindsight and see how that evolved into things like Sweeney Todd or Into the Woods or Assassins. And, you know, this is where it started. This is where it began. It's awesome. It's also very funny. This show is very funny.
Now, Pseudolus is probably my favorite character in the piece. A role of
Is it complicated, or am I thinking too much? Is it complicated to have an African American play a slave? And she was replaced by David Allen Greer, so they did that twice. I'm just wondering if there's something that should make people uncomfortable, or that might be something that the producers have to be careful about, or hey, it's just a role and anybody of any color should be able to play it without it being complicated. You can put your answer in the comments.
enormous nuance and variety, laid by an actor of such, well, let me put it this way. I play the bard.
I think what's so brilliant about this show is that even though it's in many ways,
unique among musicals because it's sort of not a conventional book musical, because the songs can be removed, because you have these sort of like the way that it uses farce and it uses these sort of Roman theatrical tropes is really interesting. You know, in some ways it stands kind of alone, but on the other hand, all of these weird pieces, and I think Sondheim's talked about that too, about how James Goldman said that the score doesn't match the script at all. And he was like, he's right, but we have to keep going. It all just blends together to make this brilliant thing. And I think that it, as much as it has these different pieces, it feels very much of one tone.
Floor is open. I am looking for comments, questions, interpretations, memories. If you have a memory, try to keep it under a minute. I am interested in your thoughts about the clips that we looked at from the high school or from the community and high school productions of the shows. I'm interested in your thought about Whoopi being Black and playing a slave. I'm looking at your thoughts about the book. Anything that we've discovered that we've discussed so far that you might have a comment on is welcome. I'm interested in comments about the Maven experience with David Benkof or whatever I end up talking. All that stuff is fair game. Yes, Alice.
My uncle was the rehearsal pianist for the previews with Zero Mostel. And he said the number of times they had to stop the show because Mostel had improvised yet again something else that had the entire cast in hysterics.
His nephew, Julian, is a longtime student of mine. I haven't seen him in a while, but he never joined, so I think he just comes for some of the free classes, and he'll, if it happens to be the producers, or if anything happened, or one of the other shows that Zero did, then he'll tell stories. It's quite fun. Other comments, questions, interpretations, memories, recommendations. Yeah, there's Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn.
Just wanted to say that that was the show that was playing when I first went to college at 18, and I had never even heard of it. So that was my first experience. And then I decided after that that I had to be a theater minor. So, you know, because I just loved it. And I said I have to do more. And then I helped out with various productions at school.
Cool. You had your hand out? No? Okay. Hey, Lynn, where does Forum fit in Sondheim's career, in his quality, in your mind? Is he in the top third? Is it in the top third? Is it in the bottom third? You have an opinion?
I'd put it in the top third. I mean, you know, it's just so joyous and wonderful, and it's also one of his most accessible shows, which, you know, we know that he's had over the years had problems with accessibility, and this is the one that you can take a non-Sondheim person to, I think, with, you know, feeling quite confident that they will get something from it.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, the other one that I would say is the first act of Into the Woods.
Absolutely.
And the second act gets, especially for kids, but it just gets a little more dark. But this show doesn't get dark ever. It's just a really fun, they call it a romp. Other comments? Okay. Wendy, you're unmuted. Did you have something?
Well, I do, but it has nothing to do with Forum, but it does have to do with Sondheim.
Please.
Yeah, I just wanted to apologize for that. I saw the movie Blue Moon the other night, which is the biopic of Lorenz Hart. One of the saddest movies I've ever seen, but I did want to mention that there's one scene where the actor playing Oscar Hammerstein introduces his young boy Stevie, his friend, to Richard Rogers. They never say his last name. They just say, Richard and Larry, I'd like you to meet Stevie. And it's this 10-year-old boy. And I'm sitting in the theater wondering, I wonder how many people know who that is. And I felt like I was in the in crowd because I knew who it was. And it's just a young boy, and he says a few lines, and then it's over.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I need to.
It's very sad, though. Must warn you.
All right, thank you for the warning. Other comments, questions, theories, endorsements of various versions? Okay, let's go back. And I just like this part because pantaloons and tunics, courtesans and then panderers, philanderers, mistakes, fakes, rhymes. It just goes from several syllables down to one syllables. And then there's tumblers, bumblers. Does anybody know the line? There's 4 words that end in blurs, which is just Sondheim at his best.
On eunuchs, balls and chases, puzzles and faces, philanderers, stupidity, timidity, mistakes,
The opening
Okay, a little more from this panel.
just because that song, because Comedy Tonight, anyone who doesn't, people who don't know Sondheim know the song Comedy Tonight. They don't know that it's connected to him. They don't know that it's him, whatever. But it's such a brilliant song. But like from a musical perspective, it's like the simplest little ditty. It's like a song you would write in a composition class. Sure, at that point he was frustrated and he was trying to give everybody what they wanted in terms of an introductory song. And he went, fine, here you go. This is it. It's simple and it's going to get the job done. Boom, it turns out to be like the most recognizable song in the show. And sometimes that's how music works. That's how composition works. Somebody gives you a little idea and it sparks the simplest yet most brilliant moment.
Pseudolus, friend and citizen, I have traveled the world in search of beauty, and I can say with modesty that I have the finest assortment in Rome.
Okay. This is why Gail Leander Wright hates this show. This is the one of all the Sondheim, which she thinks is brilliant. This is the one that she resists. And it's because of this scene. If anybody wants to react to it, do so in the chat.
Well, you better show them to me.
Eunuchs! Abaya! There is merchandise for every need at the house of Marcus Lycus. All the merchandise is guaranteed at the house of Marcus Lycus. For a sense of sensuality or an opulence thereof, patronize the house of Marcus Lycus, merchant of love. And now for your most assured approval and more than possible purchase, here are the fruits of my search. Behold, Tintinnabula, out of the east, with the face of an idol, the arms of a willow tree, and the pelvis of a camel.
So does this show commodify women in an unacceptable manner? Does it treat them as sex objects and something to be bought and sold?
Have you got anything a bit less, Noisy.
I have. May I present Panacea? To make her available to you, I outbid the king of Nubia, Panacea, with a face that holds 1,000 promises, and a body that stands behind each promise, eh? What? You are disturbed?
It's the proportions. I love the breadth, it's the length, and the length may be perfect, but, you know, is it right for me? Isn't she a bit too short?
Definitely not.
What about too tall?
No! Like that, you look perfect together.
Yeah, but come on, how often will we be in this position, huh?
No need to compromise.
There's a line in one of Steve's lyrics when
Okay, the point here is pretty simple. The line "I am a parade" comes right out of Plautus. It is a direct quote from the Roman author on whose works this show is based.